So what in the world is going to happen with the real estate market in Cincinnati in 2024? I've lost count of how many YouTube videos I've come across talking about the market is going to crash. There's going to be some mass foreclosures.
Run for your lives! Everyone run for cover! SOS! Mayday!
The sky is going to start falling and it will be the death of real estate and the world as we know it. But it just hasn't happened like that. And honestly, I don't think the market is going to behave the way a lot of us are being programmed to believe it's going to behave. So in order to get an understanding of what exactly is happening in the Cincy real estate market, I think we need to understand what's happening in the economy in general for all of America. That's exactly what we're going to dissect in this video. So if Cincinnati, Ohio is on your radar for a possible relocation, home purchase, or maybe an investment property purchase, stick around. This is going to be some very useful information in your decision making. Let's get into it right now. What's up? It's Victor Pham, your Cincinnati realtor, back again talking about all things Cincinnati. We're talking about all things related to real estate in Cincinnati. So if that sounds interesting to you and you have not subscribed to the channel yet, be sure to do so I can keep you up to date on all the latest videos about Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm helping people relocate to and buy real estate here in Cincinnati all the time. So if that's going to be you soon, feel free to reach out to me. I'm sure I can help you too. Remember, when it comes to houses in Cincinnati, you can always call Vic. So there are a lot of different elements that affect the behavior of the real estate market in this country. One of those things is interest rates. Now, we already witnessed record low interest rates back when they were in the twos at the height of the COVID craze. We saw them get up to as high as 8% for those traditional 30-year fixed rate mortgages. Right now, we're just under 7% on average for the typical 30-year fixed rate, about 6.9% according to Mortgage News Daily. Now, the Federal Reserve has already told us that they plan on slashing interest rates 3 times in 2024. Now, how much they plan on cutting interest rates, we don't know. But if they cut them back to where they dip back under 5%, 4%, maybe even lower, it's likely to increase the pool of buyers out there. A lot of buyers have been sitting on the sidelines with the interest rates and home prices as high as they have been, which for the experiences that I'm having with a lot of my buyers lately is resulting in a lot less competition with other buyers, more home options, and price reductions. So buyers that are out there right now in Cincinnati are in a good position to negotiate with a lot of these sellers. Now, it is slow season here in Cincinnati as well, being that we are in the dead of winter. So that's part of it. But if those rates get slashed enough to where we see another flurry of buyers that start rushing into the market, it may get more stressful for buyers than it is right now. The second thing is going to be the fact that it is an election year. Now, ironically, the feds are telling us that they are cutting interest rates during an election year. Now, why do you think that is? It's a real question. Let me know in the comments. There are a lot of political forces that influence the economy and the real estate market in this country. So it does make sense that during a big election year that they would aim to stimulate the economy and slash those rates. If you look back historically, there has always been some kind of stimulation going on during or right after an election year. So take that into account the closer we get to the election. If the interest rates do hit significant lows, it may be an opportunistic time to snag the home you've been thinking about buying for a long time. Then again, it could be bad if we go back to bidding wars and prices increase even more than they already are. So that's something to consider. It is feasible that the Fed's desire to cut rates is directly correlated to the election of 2024. Number 3 is inflation. This very much so affects the real estate market. Inflation is another big reason why so many buyers have been hitting the brakes on pursuing their home purchases. The Federal Open Market Committee, or the FOMC, judges that an inflation rate of 2% over the longer run, as measured by the annual change in the price index for personal consumption expenditures, is most consistent with the Federal Reserve's mandate for maximum employment and price stability. In other words, a 2% inflation rate is the standard for a healthy economy and maximum employment, people not going broke. And thus, more affordability overall, including in the housing market. The feds have also told us that the goal is to get us back to a 2% inflation rate. If you look at inflation historically, 2% has been the standard over time to keep things stable. Things got ridiculously unaffordable for most people in 2021 when inflation exploded from 2% to about 7% in just 1 year. It got even more insane in 2023, climbing over 8%. Yeah, you remember when your grocery prices seemed to double and triple overnight? Yeah, that's what that was. I remember people on Facebook were selling eggs at one point. It was so bad. Then it dipped back down last year in 2023, getting around 4%, which is close to where we are right now. Still double of what is considered a stable inflation rate. And they're telling us the goal is to get us back to 2% by 2026. So this has affected home prices significantly and priced a lot of buyers out of the market. I mean, with rates like that, people can barely afford the essentials they need for everyday life, let alone a home purchase. Because inflation affects all of that, not just home prices, car prices, food, travel, utilities, all that. So if you are in the market to buy now, you should be aware of that. Where the inflation rate ends up is ultimately going to affect how much house you'll be able to afford. The number 4 thing affecting the real estate market, and this is kind of adding on to the last part I just talked about, which is home prices. Home prices are still very high historically, higher than they have ever been. Now, they aren't rising as fast as they were, but more so at a steady rise now. Will that ever stop? We don't know. We obviously hope it does. I mean, you look at the home prices and the steady growth, and you hope to be optimistic. But with the pricing right now and the interest rates and the conditions of the economy, does make it a lot tougher for a lot of people. Are these prices ever going to drop or slow down? Let me know in the comments what you think. Now, I can't, however, speak for what is happening in Cincinnati right now. This is a snapshot of home sales in Cincinnati for May of 2023, one of the busiest months of the year, meaning that most people like to buy in the spring and summer. You can see our average sold price right around $300,000, but the active inventory hitting the market, low. New listings, low. Amount of units sold, low. But when stuff is hitting the market, it still is selling very fast. 3 days. And this was a similar trend for most of 2023. You can see the same for June. You can see the same for July. And you can see the same for August. So you have a combination of low inventory, high prices, and when houses do hit the market, they don't stay on the market very long. This is a trend we've seen now for a few years. Now, it's not as bad as it was in recent years. It has cooled, but it is still a challenge for buyers. We have that inventory problem, and when we do get the inventory, it goes really fast. Like I said, I still get a lot of buyers that do well in this market. We're getting price reductions, we're getting seller credits, in a lot of cases, little to no competition depending on what house you buy and where it is. Not every single time, but the opportunities are definitely there. So if you're in the market to buy right now in Cincinnati, my advice to you would come in the form of a few tips. First, buy with your brain, not your heart. It is very easy to make an emotional purchase when you feel you're attached to a home and you don't want to miss out. Understand that there are a lot of steps into buying a home. Make sure whoever you have helping you can walk you through each step and is willing to answer all the questions you may have about the process, especially if you're new. Now, should you have something about the home that makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside? Absolutely. But just remember there is a balance, and brains should always outweigh how you feel emotionally. Second tip, don't be afraid to ask, whether it's for a price reduction, a credit from the seller, or something that you don't understand about the condition of the property. We are in a weird state in the real estate market where it's still crazy, but a lot of sellers are still willing to consider what you may be asking for. Like they say, closed mouths don't get fed. You just don't know until you try. And tip number 3 is to understand what's happening in the market. Everything that I've talked about in this video is going to in some way affect you during your home buying journey. So understand how to navigate this stuff to get the best advantages and do your best to stay educated all the time. So to summarize, do I think the market is going to crash and burn and cause massive doom and gloom on all the economy and the real estate market? No, I don't. Honestly, I think this is the evolution of where we are going, which is a much faster and more expensive market. trying to keep up with the demand of a growing population of human beings. And again, I'm very optimistic. That's just me. I could be wrong. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know in the comments. I'm very curious about how you guys feel. If you're going to be relocating to Cincinnati or any of the Cincinnati suburbs soon and you need help in the buying process, feel free to reach out to me. More than happy to have a chat with you. If you want to watch some more cool videos on what it's like living in Cincinnati, Ohio, start with this playlist right here. I will see you in the next video. And remember, when it comes to houses in Cincinnati, you can always call Vic.